Good morning, everyone. I'm Christy, Head of Education for BERNINA of America. I'm here at Houston Quilt Festival, and yesterday I posted a little picture of some things I was playing around with here on the screen and asked if you'd like to see a tutorial. So that's what I'm going to do now, is show you how I built the Combi mode patterns that I then stitched in embroidery. Okay, so to do this technique, first of all, whatever you're going to put your project onto, you are going to scan it first. So it doesn't matter if you're going to put it in a square or here I'm going to put it in this border, but whatever you're going to do, scan it first. It's going to make it easier to do this technique. So even though I've scanned first, now I'm going to go to sewing. So from here, we're going to select sewing, and then it's going to ask us to remove the hoop. And you just have to unclip it. You don't have to actually move it out of the way. And then the arm will move out of the way because the machine thinks we want to sew. So from here, we're going to build our combination stitch. So to do a combination, you use the Combi mode at the bottom center of the stitch altering area. Touch your Combi mode and now choose the stitches you want. Because I'm not actually sewing this on the sewing side, I don't need to change my foot or anything. We can just leave it just like this. We'll go to our decorative stitches and let's build our Combi mode. I love this little stitch here that looks like a sewing machine. So here's our sewing machine stitch, but we're building a combination. So let's add another stitch to that. So we'll go back to the decorative stitches and let's choose this little daisy. So now this design is going to stitch the sewing machine in the daisy, and it will keep repeating itself. But before we send it over to embroidery, we are going to set the number of repeats that we think we want to fit in our space. And I'm not 100% sure how it is, but it'll be very easy to go back and forth. So we'll go to the edit menu, and under edit, we're going to select all first in our combination mode. And then under edit, choose repeat. I'm going to guess 9. I'm not sure, but we'll try 9. So we'll set 9 repeats, and you can see it repeats itself. And now all we have to do is go back to embroidery. So we've set our repeats, it's ready to go. We'll go back to embroidery. And now we go to the personal folder, and the machine has saved that combination. So there's my combination ready to go. Now I'm going to tell it we have the giant hoop on. Because it's not attached, the machine doesn't know. So we'll tell it we have the giant hoop. And now we can see how close were we on that number of repeats. So if I'm wanting to put this shape in here, let me zoom in a little bit more. If I'm wanting to put that in that shape, you can see that I am too big by one machine. Now I can size this in embroidery, but I don't want to size it too much. So I'm going to go back to sewing, and I'm going to select all and change the repeats to 8. And then back to embroidery. Delete the one that we had just put on and go back to add and personal folder. So it just automatically saves whatever the last thing was on your sewing screen. So there it is. And now, again, we have to choose giant hoop. And now you can see that the stitch fits in this space a lot better. And we can move it over where we want it to go. Now, it's a little bit too small at this point, but it's better to size it up a little bit than down. So if you're going to make an adjustment in the embroidery side, try to get it as close as you can and then adjust up to fit. Rather than just eyeballing this, I'm going to use pinpoint placement. So we'll go to pinpoint placement, and now we'll have to reattach the hoop. So now that the hoop is attached, we're going to use pinpoint placement. We'll need to zoom way in so we can see that grid. We're actually going to use the grid mode this time. Select the bottom point here, and let's turn on the laser. And we'll set the bottom. I want this to rest right on that border. So set the bottom. Use the green pin to set it in place. So now it's set. And then you can see when I come down here, it's a little too short and it's angled. No problem. We'll select this point and move it over. And because we pinned the top one, it's not going to move. Only the bottom point is going to move. So now you're going to see that it will actually size it up to fit. Okay, pin that one. Now that we've got that one exactly how we want it, I actually want to repeat this several times in this row. Set it first, get it exactly how you want it, and then do your duplicate, because that way you're duplicating at the correct size and angle. So now we can duplicate this however many times we want to fit in our shape. So that's how you use combi mode to build your combination and then be able to then embroider this out. So once you're ready to embroider, you'll just select the go button. You'll want to change from multicolor to reduce thread changes, so it'll sew everything at one time without stopping. And then you'll say okay, and you're ready to stitch out your design.